Hey everybody, Kewalski here, checking in with another one of our hashtag Star Trek Discovery discussion videos. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 12, The Good of the People, or is it that anymore? I don't know. So, for those of you that don't know, another episode title has happened with inside of Star Trek Discovery. This episode was previously titled The Good of the People, but now it's called There Is a Tide. I don't know why they keep changing all the episode titles there. There's clearly some serious editing rework going on in the background there. I don't know if it's just because, you know, they feel like these titles are better, or if it's because they're jumbling around different story points in order to get different aspects of it done better. I don't know. But yeah, this is actually the third title change that we've had so far inside of Star Trek Discovery Season 3, which was last week's episode, which was just renamed Su'Kal instead of the Citadel, which I think some places are still reporting it as either one, but whatever. And then, of course, we had, I think it's You Are That Hope, or You Are the Hope, or whatever it was. It was supposed to be a part 1, but then they just changed it to, they just dropped the part 1 construct, and I guess we're not going to get a part 2. So we don't have that anymore. So it's just that one. So I don't know what's going on, but they're making it very difficult for me to keep track of what episode we're actually on. But so let's just use the numbers. This is episode 12. We are right before next week's episode, which is the actual literal season finale of Star Trek Discovery Season 3. So what did I think of this episode? Now, for those of you that hang around the channel, you do know that I kind of had a lot of issues with last week's episode with Su'Kal. Now, some of you guys brought up some interesting points, which, you know, I didn't really sway me at all, to be perfectly honest, and this episode didn't really help in the regards of the issues that I had, mainly because we didn't go back to the planet with Su'Kal on it at all. We didn't touch on any of that stuff, which I imagine next week's episode is going to be a lot of that, but this whole episode was focused purely on what Osira was doing with kind of the Dadmiral, and then Michael Burnham sneaking on board the Discovery to kind of break everybody out. Now, of course, you do kind of start to draw some parallels of this story with, I mean, I thought it was basically just the plot of Die Hard 1. You've got our hero character that's a stowaway on board of a situation that's being taken over by terrorists who have hostages. They're hiding around inside of air ducts. They get their boots taken off. They lose their shoes. Their feet are all bloody. They blow somebody out of an airlock / drop somebody off of a building. They collect equipment during the way. They taunt their captors. It's basically just a plot of Die Hard 1, but I'm not, you know, saying that negatively. A lot of things are the plot of Die Hard 1, including Die Hard 1's plot. So, you know, I'm not saying that is a negative. I saw that as soon as they took her boots off of her feet, and then they had the bloody feet running around because she had the wound on her leg, I was like, this is just Die Hard 1. So I thought that was kind of funny. Obviously kind of well-timed. I mean, most people like to argue about whether or not Die Hard 1 is a Christmas movie. And this came out right as the holiday seasons were ending here, you know, going into the new year. So I actually thought it was pretty well-timed. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. But ultimately, the whole situation with the Federation, you know, doing this treaty with Osira, that's one part of it. And then you have Michael Burnham trying to take back the Discovery, which is another part of it, mixed with Book trying to help out with what's going on with Tilly. This episode wasn't really bad. It's just, I guess I'm just starting to get into this mindset, right? So it kind of puts me in this way where I actually like this season, but I kind of don't think I'm going to like the plot of The Burn, if that makes sense. Obviously, we're going to do a lot of post-game analysis of the full season of Star Trek Discovery, you know, for Season 3, once, you know, the next episode airs, which is the finale, and we go on into Season 4. But as of right now, it feels like I like this season and all of these different episodes and these different character moments and all this fun stuff, but I don't really like the Burn storyline so much. That's kind of where I'm at with this right now. You know, in this episode, again, I thought it was very good, but I get frustrated a little bit because we're not dealing with the Burn. Yet again, we're kind of being pushed to the side so they can focus on these other moments, which is a weird way to do it because it's like, is the Burn important for me to care about, or should I care about these other things? And we've talked a lot about this in my other, you know, review episodes and in my live streams and stuff like that, where it's like, it feels as though almost the Burn really isn't important to the story of Season 3, and all of these other individual character moments are much more important, which, I mean, I guess is good, but I don't know, like, they haven't really sold me on it on either way. There's only one more episode for them to really make me feel either one way or the other about it, and I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off in a single episode. We'll see. But it is a little bit confusing as to what I should be emotionally attached to, but right now it feels like I like this season, but I just hate this Byrne story arc. And I like all these characters and what they're doing. I mean, I seem to think that most of them are pretty cool. I don't hate any of them in particular. The only really big bonehead decision I thought is having Tilly go in as EXO, which, I mean, obviously didn't pay off at all. Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately, this episode was really good, but I was getting a little frustrated with the fact that we weren't going back to the Byrne storyline. But I didn't hate this episode. I liked the conversations between the two doctors of the guy trying to figure out what's going on with the mycelial network and him talking to Paul Stamets, and I like how that, particular actor, who's already been inside of Star Trek Discovery, he unfortunately has a very serious medical condition that put him inside of a wheelchair, and they actually wrote him a character where he's kind of chilling in a wheelchair, and I thought that was, futuristic, obviously, wheelchair, and I thought that was really cool. I like that. I like the scenes with them kind of debating and going back and forth. It's very Star Trek. I like that a lot. I like how they're definitely alluding to him kind of standing up to Osira later on. So I really liked the sequences with Osira and the Dadmiral, and this whole idea that they wanted to make a treaty with the Emerald Chain and the Federation. I like how they're trying to build out this world. This kind of goes back to what I was just saying, which is that this season, the overall season of season 3 for Discovery has been pretty good. And I like the world building that they're doing, even if the Byrne plot arc is kind of dumb. I like what they're doing with the entire, universe that they're creating now. And I like this idea, even though they obviously, it falls apart at the end. It may not necessarily completely fall apart, because really the linchpin issue there is whether or not Osira is going to be held, held to account for her crimes, and she obviously doesn't want to do that, duh. But if she were to die or get taken out and is no longer a part of the chain, maybe they can, go loop back around and deal with the Emerald Chain Council, or this group of governing bodies, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just kind of like a one-woman show over there, that she was just kind of running the whole thing, but apparently there's like a whole council of people, and they have to kind of all agree on. They have like the Science Academy, they have all this crazy stuff, so it sounds like there's a lot more going on with the Emerald Chain than they initially led us to believe. I thought they were just a bunch of vagabonds out there kind of just being terrible, but they got other stuff going on. Obviously they've got low morals, and they're doing some things that are shady, but they got other things going on, and maybe the Federation can loop back around and kind of re-engage this peace treaty without Osira being present. So if they kill her off in the final episode, maybe they'll be able to actually make this peace treaty work. I like that plot. I like the idea that the Federation is going to engage in something that's a little bit shady in terms of a peace treaty, but they can elevate each other. They have a lot more resources, a lot more personnel in the Emerald Chain, and the Federation has the morals and ideals, and then together they can come together and make something really, really great. I mean, when you started the first Federation, the Andorians weren't at the same, level as, say, the Vulcans, and the humans definitely weren't at the same level, and the Tellarites weren't all the same. Not everyone thought the same or had the same morals and ideals. They all got together, and then eventually it became that, so this is very much like a kind of continuation of the Federation construct there, like they're just doing it again, which would be really awesome, and I like what they're doing there. That would be a lot of fun. I hope that they stick with that. That would be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those sequences between the two of them, and I like the idea that we're actually going to see something like that kind of play out. That would be fun. Some of the other things that I really enjoyed about this episode were basically, I liked some of the action. I liked that they brought back the guy from the first or second episode of this season, with the crazy black hand. I thought he's a fun character. I wish they hadn't spoiled that in the previews leading up into the episode, because they literally are like, remember him? It was kind of stupid. They should have not done that. I don't know why they did that, but whatever. And yeah, I mean, I thought he was pretty cool. I liked the outfits that the Emerald Chain folks wear. I like the guns that they have. Those are really cool. I love Osira's ship. I thought that was really great. I like the sequence where Book and Michael fly their ship inside of the Discovery and slam inside of the rear of it. Very dangerous, very fun. I like that. I liked how the Admiral wasn't just taken by surprise. Like, he was very cautious, but he made a lot of really great calculated decisions when he was letting the Discovery through the shield wall. I thought he was very smart about that. I feel like they took proper precautions, and, they were doing the right things there. I really did enjoy that. Now, it is a little bit weird, because it does make me wonder, like, okay, if they're inside the shield wall, why can't they just literally, beam everybody out of, inside of the Discovery, out of the Discovery, and save everybody? I mean, everybody beamed into it, so I'm not really sure I understand that. And wouldn't the Federation have the proper command codes? Which I guess then they hacked into it and then changed it, which is weird. And there's a lot of stuff kind of there to unpack. They kind of breezed through a whole bunch of that stuff just to kind of like get you to the point where it's like, the Federation can't just beam in. They're blocking it. They've got sensors jammed and its communications jammed. They just kind of punch their way straight through it. it's whatever, you know, it's not the first time they've had to do that in Star Trek before, but you know, it is what it is. But I did like the fact that the Admiral wasn't taken by too much of a surprise. He recognized that there were things going on that were sus, and he definitely took proper precautions, so I thought that was really great. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that the sphere data, our girl Zora, has now downloaded herself into 3 little .23s. I think that's great. I like how she refers to Tilly as the captain. They're clearly continuing to expand on this construct of Zora and the sphere data and it being the sentient AI and you know, kind of connecting back to the Calypso thing, but we still don't know how they're going to do that. Whatever, we'll get to that eventually, I assume. And yeah, I mean, that's ultimately it. You know, that's pretty much my feelings overall. Everything else in the episode was good. Again, the episode itself was solid. I enjoyed the Die Hard plot. I thought it was kind of fun. I liked Michael Burnham kind of running around doing her thing. The sequence between her and Stamets where she fires him off into space so he can get picked up by the Federation. I thought it was really smart. You know, I thought that was really well done. Now, you can get into some of the stupid decisions they made last week that forced her to have to do that this week. Now, that's very true, but her getting him off the ship without really understanding, like, we're seeing the rest of the episode. We know what's going on with Tilly. We know what's going on with Osira. We know what's going on with the Admiral. Michael Burnham doesn't know. The only thing she knows is that as long as Stamets is on that ship, Osira can force him to use the spore drive to do all sorts of bad stuff. So her goal is to get him off the ship. And yes, it is about, you know, potentially sacrificing Hugh and the Captain Saru and Adira, but that's her primary focus, and it actually makes sense that she did that. That was a good character motivation, and I liked how much Stamets was freaking the hell out about it, because it was, yeah, he would freak out about it. He's about to, in his mind, he thinks he's going to use Hugh again, and he's going to lose Adira, and he's freaking out, so his reaction was great. I thought that sequence was very, very well done. You know, I really enjoyed that, and, you know, I mean, I think Stamets was actually crying a little bit more than Michael in this sequence, so that's good. You know, it's always better when other people cry more than Michael does. She loves a good cry, that one. Cry and whisper, and those are her 2 favorite things, you know. But I thought that was a really great character moment for her, and it's really showing a lot of development for Michael Burnham throughout the rest of the season, even though I did feel like her turnaround in the last episode was very, very sudden. Now they have to continue to build upon that, and which is what they are doing, but I still feel like it wasn't necessarily as earned as well as they could have done it, but that's whatever. All right, guys and gals, that does wrap up my kind of review/discussion for this episode. I will probably do another episode kind of coming up, you know, in a couple of days, where I'm going to go through some of my theories, some of my wild and crazy theories as to what's going to be happening inside of the season finale and what this means potentially going into season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. So if you guys and gals enjoyed this video, please throw a like and a subscribe up on the YouTube channel. And while you're down there, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what you thought about some of my comments here today, and I look forward to getting the conversation started. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!